Hey everyone and welcome to Storytime. My name is Jake and today we're going to be looking at the subreddit r/maliciouscompliance. Trying to trick me into taking your shift? Sure, you can drink my smoothie. This happened to me about a week or so ago, but I'm still not over it. Need to share this with somebody. I'm sorry for any spelling mistakes, English is not my first language. This story takes place in Sweden, by the way. So first, some important backstory. I'm a part-time student at a local college. My schedule is what you would call, like, really chill. I have full school days on Mondays and Fridays, but on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I only have lessons in the afternoon or at night. Wednesdays change from week to week. But this means that I have the opportunity to work at a daycare 2 to 3 days a week. I love my job. Both the kids and the adults are great. Well, most of them, but I'll get there. I mostly work with the older kids, but I also work in the kitchen when the regular personnel is sick or has the day off. The day of the incident, I was working in said kitchen. The layout of the kitchen is really dumb. I believe the building used to be an apartment complex before it was turned into a daycare. The rest of the place looks really great, but the kitchen is a mess. It consists of 2 narrow corridors creating an L shape. The big industry dishwasher is in one end of the room and the sink is the other end of the room with the oven and the stove in the middle. As you can imagine, this creates all kind of problems. The worst one, however, is at the front of the sink there is still the remains of a wooden door frame that never got torn down. This means that the little trolley that we put food and dishes on doesn't fit through the doorway, and we have to carry the dishes by hand if we want to rinse them in water or pour something out in the sink. This will be important later. Over to the story. So, I was preparing for lunch when one of my co-workers was walking in. Let's call her Katie. I only know Katie by reputation since she often worked with the youngest kids, but I did know that she was being a part-time substitute like me and had a close friend on the daycare's board. Katie was also notorious for being late, but she always got away with it because of her friend. Katie smiles at me and asks if I could take her shift tomorrow. So this happened on a Thursday, which meant that even if I wanted to, I couldn't work the next day. That Friday, my class was also supposed to go on a day trip to one of the big cities. She knew this since it was all I've been talking about for weeks. I was so excited. I explained the situation for her and very politely said no. Her face dropped and the smile turned into a big frown. Katie started telling me this story about how she needed the day off to visit her dying nephew in the hospital. She told me that he didn't have much time left and if she didn't go tomorrow, she'd never get another chance. Fun fact about me, I'm a big pushover who doesn't know how to say no to people. I think this comes from being a shy, goody two-shoes who hates disappointing people. If you just put the lightest purchase on me, I crumble like a house of cards. When she told me this, I felt like a horrible person because I couldn't help her. But I managed to stutter something like, sorry, but I can't, and suggest for her to ask someone else on the work team. But nobody wants to, she said. Not everybody else is busy, or they're all working tomorrow. This raised a small red flag within me, so I stood my ground and told her something along the lines of, I'm really sorry, but I can't. But if it's a family emergency, I'm sure the boss can give you the day off. I hope that your nephew gets better. I tried to smile at her, but she just looked at me with this cold, almost scary expression on her face. Then, she leaned in close to my face and said, You're being really selfish. If my nephew dies, it will be on your conscience. With that said, she left, and I felt like the world's biggest jerk. I felt like a jerk for doubting her story, and for not shifting with her. I'm ashamed of myself for only thinking of my day trip. Later, when I come in with the lunch trolley for the youngest kids, Katie is just mean mugging me the whole time and started making horrid comments about me like I wasn't even in the room. She did this in front of the kids and teachers. This becomes too much for me and I had to excuse myself to go into the bathroom to just hold back tears. My body is shaking and I had to keep telling myself to breathe because my throat was closing up. I couldn't stand the thought of my co-workers thinking I was a horrible person who didn't let someone see their dying nephew. I just wanted to melt into the floor and disappear. After maybe 5 to 10 minutes, I've calmed down and my breathing was back to normal. I heard a knock on the door. On the other side is one of my work friends. Let's call her Jane. Jane looks at me and she can tell that I'm upset. She pulls me into a big hug. This calms me down even more, and when she asks me what happens, I was able to tell her the story. She listens with great patience, and when I'm done, she lets out a sigh. Fun fact about Jane, apparently she knew Katie all her life. They're the same age and have always gone to the same school. She tells me that the real reason why Katie wants to get off work is because she's going to a concert with some friends. Jane told me that she'd been posting about it a million times on Facebook. This is why no one else wanted to change shift with her. And then she dropped the bombshell. Katie doesn't even have a nephew. She's an only child. I got angry. I don't think I've been this mad in my entire life. How dare she call me selfish? I mean, what kind of a psycho makes up a dying kid to get the day off from work? I start fuming just thinking about it. But it also kinda lit a fire under my butt. I was done letting people walk all over me. I had to start standing up for myself. Jane promised me to talk with both Katie and our boss about this. We hugged and I went back to work. Later, I'm in the kitchen cleaning up after snack time. Thursday's our smoothie day, which both the kids and teachers love. So I usually make extra and save a jug with smoothie for the teachers in the refrigerator. Today is no exception. All the jugs in the daycare look the same. Iron ones with a lid attached so the kids won't spill as much. So because of the kitchen's dumb layout, I usually take one of the empty jugs and pour the leftover liquid in there first and dump it in the sink. This is so I don't have to walk over to the sink with every individual glass. I pour water, coffee, tea, milk, and smoothie with wet napkin pieces and crumble up bread into the jug, shut the lid and put it on the table. The bell to the dishwasher rings and I walk over to take out the dishes. The door opens and Katie storms in. She doesn't say anything, just gives me the stank eyes and walks over to the jug on the table. She grabs one of the clean mugs and starts pouring. I raise my hand to tell her to stop. She turns to me, eyes blazing with hate. "Jeez, just let me have this, would you?" "Okay, I'll let you have this." So I just watch as she takes a big gulp of my disgusting smoothie. Her face goes from smug to panic in a second. She rushes over to the sink to spit it out. Then she turns to me with this. "What the hell did you do?" look on her face. I remain calm and say, "Like I was trying to tell you, that's not a smoothie." Then I give her my sweetest smile and say, "I hope you have fun at the concert, Katie." Her face turns bright red and she runs out the kitchen. The next day, I got a phone call from my boss asking me why Katie is saying that I tried to poison her. Apparently, Katie had called in sick the next day, claiming that my smoothie had made her sick. I explained the whole situation for him and he promised to look into it. Then I called Jane asking her for a favor. I tell her to screenshot everything Katie posts for the concert on her social media and send it to our boss. He might need some help with this investigation. Next time I came to work, I heard from Jane that Katie doesn't work here anymore. I can't lie, it felt great. Don't touch anything on the boat until the bank has inspected it? Fine. I recently started working at a boatyard/marina, and this story belongs to the owner. We'll call him Joe. Joe is a hard-working, salt-of-the-earth type of guy. Treat him right and he'd give you the shirt off his back, but he doesn't take slack from anyone. Evidently, a few years ago, one of the boat owners declared bankruptcy. Joe had a lien on the boat for unpaid repairs, so the boat was hauled out of the water and stored on site while the legal mess was sorted out. Now, Joe tried to explain to the bank representative that there were some things that needed to be taken care of prior to long-term storage. Evidently, the rep was a bit of an a-hole and didn't listen to Joe. He just kept saying that nothing was to be touched or removed from the boat until the bank evaluated it. Fine. So Joe hauled the boat to the far corner of the lot and let it sit all summer while the bank sorted things out. It sat in the sun for months before the bank came to take a look. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this was a commercial fishing boat. Evidently, the forfeiture of the boat was rather abrupt, so the boat was still stocked when it was hauled out of the water. It was stocked with fish bait, specifically 3 half-full barrels of fish bait. Sealed barrels of fish bait that had been sitting in the sun for months. Needless to say, Joe didn't bother warning the adjusters when they showed up. They insisted on inspecting everything personally. After all, and they weren't interested in his opinion. I don't know the full aftermath, but evidently, not long after the inspection began, the smell of rotting fish became so strong that it was nearly overpowering in the office a half a mile away. Joe got his money with no further BS from the bank. Wow, Joe really baited those jerks. Did you see what I did there? Hey everyone, I hope you're all having a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you did, then remember to leave a like on it as it helps out a lot. If you want to submit your own stories or just talk with people, then you can join the Discord in the description. If you want to check out some of the videos, then click on screen right now or check out our playlists. But thank you again for watching and I will see you very soon.